What's up, my Journey Christian Church family, man? I hope all is well, and I'm super excited to be with you guys tonight. And just like Derek said last week, man, let's thank God that we have technology and that we can still be connected, even if it's over internet or just whatever it is. Let's just thank God for that, and we'll still be able to get connected. But we are still in summer, and I know you guys are probably still having a blast, but summer is coming to a close. I know it sounds bad, but I think on the flip side of it, we're kind of excited because it's that time where we're actually like, wow, I kind of miss school. It's kind of crazy, but I'm kind of looking forward to going back because there's sports, there's the clubs, we get involved in with our friends again, and everything's going just right and just dandy. Because I remember being at school, I was excited for those things because, man, it was something to do. It was something to get better at. And I know you guys are all involved with something at school. If it's even in the classroom of just trying to get good grades, man, there's always something that we're trying to do to get better and to get known for and to get seen. Because just like in school, there's always those people that kind of have it all together, right? Like they get the good grades, they're involved in all the clubs, they have all the friends and all the popularity, and we're kind of just looking at like, I just want to be that guy or that girl, you know? And so we're doing sports and we're getting better, and you know what? We're making progress, things are going pretty good. But we often try to find ourselves of trying to seek that attention and to seek that approval from other people. We're doing good in sports and we're doing good in the classroom and we're excited to show our parents, and these are good things, guys. Like when we get good grades and we start doing better in sports and we start to get a little and start to try to show it off, and we're like, hey, look at what I can do. Because we're trying to be somebody, we're trying to be that guy or that girl. But I think this even happened when we were little kids, like we would come back from kindergarten and first grade, be like, Mom, look at the picture that I drew. Or Mom, Dad, like the family that you lived with or whoever you live with, like you'd be like, look at the 3 spins that I learned how to do today, because we're always trying to strive for somebody's attention and for somebody's approval. And this can kind of sound like, wait a minute, oh dang, I think he might be right. But guys, I just want to share this with you that, man, you're not defined by what you can do. You're defined by who you are. And what you do does not define who you are. And in these times of trying to seek people's attention and seek people's approval in school and doing this aspect, we start to ask this question is, man, like, are people for me and am I seen? And this can even translate even into our Christian walk and to going to church. We go to church and we do all the right things and we're trying to strive again and we're doing good, and we start asking these questions is like, am I seen? And are you for me? Are people for me? I think there's an analogy that I love that I think tries to wrap up the point that I'm trying to make. Is there's this show called The Voice, and it's one of my all-time favorite shows. And there's these people that are trying to perform for these judges to get them to turn their chair around so that way they can pick them to be on their team. So basically it kind of goes like this. Someone's singing, someone's doing good, and these judges are literally faced the opposite direction, and then they hit a button and boom, they turn around if they did good enough. And I think oftentimes we're trying to seek people's attention and seek people's approval by performing and doing good enough. We're trying to say boom so that they see us and that we know that they're for us. But I even think this translates to our relationship with God, is we're trying to perform, do all these religious acts and do all these good things for God to hit the button and for God to turn around and say, man, I see you and I approve of you. But guys, I want to tell you something that's so good is that, man, God's chair is already turned. Man, God already sees you, knows you, and loves you, and he's asking you to be on his team because God is all in for you. Because like I said, he loves you, he cares for you, and he is for you. It's not always about what we do to get God's love, but how we receive it. And we find ourselves in John chapter 13 of where Jesus is trying to extend his love to somebody, but they're not really taking it, or they don't really like of how it's going. So because there was this last one of the last meals that Jesus had with his disciples, and Jesus got up, filled this giant bowl of water, and was about to wash the disciples' feet. But guys, you got to think and remember, this is time where they didn't have any like Nike Ultra, I about said Nike Ultra Boost, Adidas Ultra Boost, Air Forces. You know, the disciples were rocking in some like Birks or some like Chakas or Chacos, however you say them. But the point is like their feet were nasty and dirty. They were working on or walking on dirt roads, and their feet were all like calloused and cut up, and they were probably just straight up disgusting, you know. But I think Jesus is painting this beautiful picture by getting down on his hands and knees, and he's about to wash the disciples' feet. And as he's washing the disciples' feet, Jesus comes to Peter and he's about to wash his feet. And we find the story in John chapter 13. So you can go ahead and flip to John chapter 13. If you need to pause the video to get there, feel free to. But John chapter 13, verse 6, it goes like this. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, Lord, are you going to wash my feet? Jesus replied, you do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand. No, said Peter. So Peter said, absolutely not. You shall never wash my feet. Jesus answered, unless I wash you, you have no part with me. Whoa, I know, sounds kind of crazy. But I think there's so much beauty in this story that Jesus was God and King of kings and glory, but he humbled himself as a servant to show his love for us and how we're supposed to treat and love other people. See, guys, we have a God that is not afraid to wash our feet. See, and Peter is saying, he's probably feeling unworthy at this time. He's saying, Jesus, how are you going to wash my feet? You are the King of kings. You are the glory of glory. Like, God, my feet are disgusting. My feet are dirty. They're nowhere near where they need to be clean. God, I'm nowhere near good enough. And like I said earlier, I think we try to find ourselves asking those questions. Am I seen? And are you for me? And we ask God that same question. And I think Peter almost has dealing with this just like we are, of accepting God's grace. Because what Peter didn't know, that he was worthy of God's love. And sometimes what I don't think you and I know is, man, we are worthy of God's love. Because it was nothing that Peter did. It was just, Jesus was trying to express his love, and how we're supposed to express our love to others is just to serve people and to meet them where they are. You know, this is something that's so beautiful, and it's something that is so impactful, because I know there's times in our life where we're trying to wonder, man, God, do you see me? And God, are you for me? And we have to remember, guys, that we have a God that wants to serve us, love us, and wash our feet. And he's asking us to do the same to other people, because instead of trying to strive for a gift, God's trying to give you his gift of mercy. Because God's not necessarily concerned what you can do for him to try to get his approval and his attention. Man, he simply just wants you. During quarantine 2020, I remember this time where I was trying to almost strive for God's love and his grace. You know, or right before quarantine happened. And I was involved in the clubs. I was involved in the sports, man. And I was moving. And why do I say that? To try to make myself look good? No, because, man, you're about to see God's glory in my life. And I hope you find yourself receiving the same, because it's just a free gift. And I remember this time during quarantine, I had no more sports. I had no more clubs. I had no more things to try to strive to prove to God that I'm good enough to be seen, or good enough to him to be for me. But I remember this one night, specific night in my room, that God just wrecked me with his grace. That God reminds me, just like he's reminding you, that there's nothing you can do for him to make you love you. He loves you right now, just as you are, because his chair is already turned, and he is for you. He loves you, and he sees you. And in that time, I remember I was listening to this song that my good friend Katie Karp sent me. It was called Lean Back, a song that we sing a lot in churches. It's just a reminder that we get to lean back in the loving arms of the Father, and to just remember that God gave up his life for your life, and there's nothing you have to do to strive for that. You just have to receive his love, because that's what he's doing. So I'm not telling you guys to not do sports, not do clubs, but what I am asking you to do is, and what God is wanting us to do is, do it at a place of God's love, of no longer striving to earn it, but you already have it. And watch God move in your life, and watch God show you so much grace and so much mercy as you come to his feet time and time again to let him wash you. because he loves you, he cares for you, and he's not afraid of your mess, and you are worthy of his love. Church, we love you, we're praying for you, and we cannot wait to watch God use you this school year.